with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
Gina, hold on. This just in. Alan Parker died 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Breaking news.
So you can tell when a role hasn't been written specifically for someone if you can swap them out with another person and that person is a different gender. Comedian Tig Notaro is replacing Chris D'Elia in Zack Snyder's zombie movie Army of the Dead. This is according to Variety.com. News of the recasting comes after allegations that D'Elia sexually harassed underage girls, women 16 years old, they're saying, according to these reports, accused D'Elia of misconduct, including sending them inappropriate and explicit messages online. And in the wake of these allegations, he was dropped by CAA, his agent. D'Elia has denied the accusations, calling it all legal and consensual. Army of the Dead had completed shooting already. Everything was in post-production before the pandemic hit in March. So the movie's going to undergo reshoots with green screens and CGI and other special effects to add Notaro to the production and take D'Elia out.
You know, one of probably the worst thing you can be accused of in today's current culture is being creepy. Like, you better to have an actual label of, like, arson, you know what I mean, than creepy. Like, I swear to God, if you were a celebrity in this town, like if you asked most publicists and agents and representatives, would you rather your client be convicted of arson or convicted in the court of a public opinion of being creepy? They'd be like, let me hear the arson story. What happened? Was he trying to collect insurance?
Any injuries?
Might be easier to spin.
Was this some business partner that screwed him? So he, like, because creepy is vague-ish and never goes away.
Like, you can't dodge
it's a
it.
feeling.
And you can't, when you're creepy, you can't pay your debt to society. You're just creepy. You know, it's an evergreen. You know, I mean, if you do a thing where it's like, I killed a man, but I paid my debt, now I'm out. I mean, everyone, we kind of like that story.
Yeah,
You can
we
process
respect
it, yeah.
Yeah, we go, oh, look at him. All right. He read the Bible and he learned how to do pipe fitting when he was in the joint. Now he's out.
If you lead California, you can even say that we owe them a debt of gratitude.
Right. If you live in L.A., yeah.
Yeah.
So, but being creepy and being labeled as creepy is kind of a thing that doesn't really ever go away. You always think it, by the way, like if a guy, again, like if someone's convicted of a crime and then they serve their time and then they get out, we kind of like that story. It's like he's turning his life around, you know, but creepy is the crime that keeps giving. It never goes away. You don't do time. It doesn't have a beginning or a middle or an end. It's just creepy.
Well, and to your point, this is exactly what happened to Kevin Spacey. What was the Getty movie called, Brian?
For All the Money in the World.
Yeah, that was Donald. Who took over?
It was Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, I always get them confused. Kevin Spacey shot the whole movie, and then allegations came out, and he was replaced by Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, there's trailers that still exist with Spacey in them.
And Spacey never really has been formally charged with anything. Like there was
I don't think so.
There was the guy, and he was going to. He's like the waiter at the diner, but it turns out they found these texts where the mom and the girlfriend is like going get money out of him or whatever. That got thrown out. Like I don't know what even like this is the worst thing ever. You get accused of a bunch of stuff. You never really get your day in court, but you're still put out on Creepy Island with Chris D'Elia, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Forced to live out your days.
Yeah.
And do we ever? And also, here's the other thing they don't really tell you about, and it's secretly why we love sports. It made me think of being out on an island. If you are a shutdown cornerback in the NFL, if you're just a guy who's just a shutdown corner where they can just put you out on that island with any receiver in the league and you can hold them to 3 receptions and 18 yards for that game, you know, there's always going to be a job for you on a team somewhere. You could get put out on Creepy Island for 10 minutes, but eventually you're coming back because a team is going to pick you up because you provide something that only 10 people on the planet can do, or maybe 6 people on the planet can do, or 3. if you're a shutdown corner or whatever, your field goal kicker who's money from 55 yards every time, like, we will find you a job. If you're a baseball player who hits 385 in 41 home runs, we will find you a job. If you're Chris D'Elia, we'll get Tig Notaro to do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, acting is one of those things where it's like, we'll get Plummer to do it. Like, there are some great actors, but even really good actors.
How many are irreplaceable?
Right.
Very, very few, if any.
Right.
Before this, I might have said Kevin Spacey.
Right. So all you have to do. So then what happens is you go, well, I had an idea for this guy. We're looking for a 40-year-old good-looking guy to play this part with some comedic chops. And they go, how about Chris D'Elia 5 years from now? And then you go, I didn't want to
open the can of worms.
Why even get into that? And then someone will go, I think he's innocent. Like, I think he's paid his debt to society. And you go,
don't want that headache.
Yeah, but why do you want to go sell that to the studio? Like,
every interview at the junket's going to be about that.
There's not a 40-year-old white guy with some comedic chops that could do that role. And they're like, just go get Joel McHale.
Let's get Adam Ray.
Yeah, get Adam Ray. So there you go. That's unfortunately now the way it can go. Mm-hmm. So good
back
luck.
to Gina's original point, I love the movie Alien, and about getting recast genderlessly or from gender switch to gender switch. I only just learned recently that the movie Alien, the reason everyone's named Ripley and Kane and Dallas and whatever is they were written without genders. There could have been a man in the lead. It ended up being Sigourney Weaver, but I don't think it was intended to be a woman. That's what I heard the screenwriter describe.
It's even more sort of interesting and progressive instead of saying this is going to be a woman, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a badass character. We'll deal with the rest later.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and in that movie, and then in Aliens, they had that tough Hispanic woman who was always doing chin-ups and carrying the shotgun. And then you had Bill... Oh, was it Bill Paxton was the whimpering. So, we're going to die. We're all
Game over, man. Game over. What do we do now?
He doesn't get enough credit for that role and for Chet from Weird Science. I love him.
He is Chet.
I love him in both those roles.
If my room's okay, I won't kill him. I'll just hurt him real bad.
He was great.
He was in Michael Bihn's shadow in Aliens. Give him a break.
Yes, that's true.
You stewed, buttwad.
Oh, I love that.
Hi, Grammy. Hi, Grandpa.
I love that. I love when he opened the cabinet and saw us two catatonic. He was so funny, that whole thing.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Served in a dirty
greasy
ashtray.
pork sandwich.
Yeah, and I liked it when he was yelling at his brother, and then he got a look at Kelly LeBrock or whoever that was, and he just looked at her and he goes, I want to butter your muffin.
Lisa.
Yeah. Sorry.
So much to my horror and shock and awe, the hashtag boycott Dolly has been popping up on Twitter.
Oh, dear.
Since Dolly gave an interview to Entertainment Tonight Canada and answered a question about Black Lives Matter, about the movement. Now, this is crazy because most people know she is extremely apolitical in her public life. She it's not even that she sidesteps stuff. She will just say, like, I do not answer that. I don't talk politics. But she answered a question about the movement and kind of wove her way through it, but it ended up rubbing some people the wrong way. Here's the clip.
I think that everybody needs to express themselves however they feel they have to. I'm not out, like I said, I'm not out here to tell you what to do. I don't want you to tell me what to do, but I just do what my heart tells me to do. I ask God to direct me and lead me, and if I've got His direction, I don't have to worry too much about anything else. But I do understand people having to make themselves known and felt and seen. And of course, Black Lives Matter. Do we think our little white asses are the only ones that matter? No. Everybody matters.
Very
How incendiary.
So
I can see why everyone wants to boycott her.
This is her way of sort of weaving through a political conversation, and it really seemed to ignite something on Twitter. People saying boycott Dolly. I'm not buying her Christmas album. There seems to be someone who is the ringleader who a lot of people are supporting, and it's just very confusing.
The good news is I was confused. Like, a few months ago, I was confused. Like, do these people really believe that X, Y, and Z, like that person's a racist, like everyone's a racist, or are they just talking shit? Like, do they believe it? And I now realize they're just talking shit. Nobody believes it anymore. I mean,
no one's genuinely upset at Dolly Parton.
Nobody. There's nobody who started that, cancel Dolly hashtag that's legitimately upset, legitimately has a beef, is legitimately offended. There just isn't. The problem is they're going to weave that into every interview, and there's only one correct answer, which is I'm 100% down with Black Lives Matter. You cannot say, well, yeah, but I think all lives matter or something. You can't do any of that anymore. It's just boom, Black Lives Matter.
Just to clarify, the ones that are ordering for her boycott are the other side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry if that wasn't clear. So this is why
Christ.
I thought this is the great equalizer, because I don't know who this is. It's a woman named Deanna Lorraine. She is, I guess, a correspondent for Newsmax and has a book called Taking Back America. She put up a tweet that said, Dolly Parton just said she supports Black Lives Matter. My heart is literally broken.
Literally.
Guess it's time to she had to go to the emergency room. Guess it's time to boycott Dolly. And that's sort of where the dominoes started falling.
Oh, this is that group. Jesus
Adam,
Christ.
do you think it was the more liberal side that was attacking her?
I thought that's who attacks when you do the Black Lives Matter, when you don't give a concise Black Lives Matter answer.
Well, and that makes sense
Normally,
because of what we've seen. This is one of those exceptions that you just realize cancel culture is it becoming the great equalizer? It's crazy.
Well, what I was basing it on is kind of your Drew Breesy kind of thing where he goes, hey, I'm down with the cause, but I stand for the flag. And then he got chewed up and spat out.
Right.
Like,
I think if she had said something like, sure, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, that would have upset the left. But the fact that she... Oh, she did?
Yeah.
I thought I misunderstood.
She said that was part of her quote.
It's also blurry and confusing now that I can't even tell what side is upset by the commentary.
Absolutely. She said, of course
True.
Black Lives Matter. Why do we think our little white asses are better? All lives matter. We all matter.
Yeah,
That was a candidate platitude. That was just she didn't take a strong stand.
No, that's what she does. She will say, "I don't talk politics." But in another clip where they try to like give her a gotcha question because she had a restaurant at Dollywood called the Dixieland Stampede, which is like what's the thing in Buena Park with the jousting?
Oh,
medieval times.
Medieval times.
Yes, medieval times. It's basically that, but like Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's that same type of vibe. And people said Dixie is offensive and racist. And she had a quote saying, "I'm a businesswoman.
Yeah.
If I'm being told it's offensive now, we get rid of it. It's a business decision." And she's not afraid to say that.
Well, I guess the new world order is just. Unfortunately, this is like silencing a lot of people. People just don't want to do interviews anymore.
Like you said, you didn't even know what side was mad at her. How do you get more middle of the road than that?
No, I was just playing the odds that normally it's the Black Lives Matter side that gets angry when you start watering down, if you start watering their message down. And so I was just playing the odds, but forget it. It's not done.
Yeah.
It's not worth talking anymore.
Yeah.
Who was it? It might have been Paul F. Tompkins, somebody. And, it's a joke, whatever. But it said something like on Twitter, imagine being so racist that you literally can't enjoy Dolly Parton anymore.
Yeah. I get it. Like, if you're out there and it's your job to comment, give commentary on social things or political things or whatever things. If you're Ben Shapiro, fine. Talk in all the mics you want. If you're Dolly Parton or whoever, actor or actress anymore, if I was their publicist, I'd just go, don't do anything. You just don't go on that show. Like, don't talk into a microphone.
Well, and talk about, fringe audience. The people that go to see her shows are very, very conservative and drag queens. And me and my friends.
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
and she knows that. She goes, it's people from her hometown of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and it's all the drag queens that show up looking like her.
She's got to walk a tightrope.
Yes, exactly, and she's the most aware of that.
I don't know if we'll ever see this in our lifetimes or now, nowadays, but it would get trending if some celebrity was asked a question like that and their answer was, excuse me, their answer was basically, look, I have thoughts, but frankly, it's, it's too hot either way. So I'd rather not even express them and risk my career.
And I think we're getting to that point, which is, I don't know. Like I literally talk to guys who run companies who do like media stuff, and they're just like, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like the young folks have taken over, and I'm scared to talk. Like everyone is just literally freaked out to talk. It's not. It's funny. Like I've always said I've been this broken record that said like, not all progress is good. Like, not all evolution is good. Like, we're evolving into this place where everyone has a voice. Really? Where everyone has a voice? Right. Or maybe no one has a voice. Like, or some people have some voices. Like, this is not an evolution. This is not progress. This thing where we're going to cancel everybody. It's also kind of...
It's the anti-progress. Getting rid
of
everybody.
And it's... It's too easy to do. Well, I mean, with the internet. Yeah,
I agree. I think I made the point here on this very show that the curse of social media is that we've given everyone back in the day, you had to be James Baldwin to have a platform, like, eloquent and have some thoughts and a point. Nowadays, everyone's got a platform. It might be small, but it's, your platform goes to the world.
Well, it's funny.
You haven't earned it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a two-part thing. It's everyone has a platform, and B, businesses are scared shitless. So the second 5 of these people, these nudniks, get together with their non-platform and create a little bit of a platform, and then they want to boycott, fill in the blank, the business will immediately fold. They'll immediately fire this person or pull advertising off that. They'll go, look, I don't care if it's 8 people all working out of one trailer home. I'm out. That's how business. So it's kind of both parts. You kind of need Hollywood or a business or whomever to kind of go, forget it. I'm not working with that guy anymore, or I'm going to fire him, or they're going to pull their advertising. And then you take these relatively few people and you give them this huge stick now. Now they do mean something. They are weaponized. Yes, Brian.
I was going to say the businesses will do all of that, and they'll devote a sizable amount of resources to like replying or fighting, but not even fighting back, just reacting. I know this because Christie's business, her company, has a crisis division that handles, when there's CEO has caught in a scandal or someone gets sick off the food. God knows why. It could be anything, but it's a crisis. Or they are thriving because everyone is essentially every business is essentially going through a crisis right now.
The only reason the rest of us know what a crisis manager is because that's the one that ratted out the Papa John's guy.
That's right. It was them.
All right, let's do one more.
It was not them.
Gina Grant.
Well, let's do this because it's breaking as we record this. So 2 arrests have been made in a 2002 murder of Run DMC's Jam Master Jay, according to ABC News. And this just came through my phone before we started. Carl Jordan and Ronald Washington have been charged with the murder of the pioneering rapper born Jason Mizell while engaged in cocaine trafficking. This is according to an indictment unsealed in the Eastern District of New York that also charged the 2 with drug offenses. Washington, one of the guys, Ronald Washington, is currently imprisoned on a prior robbery case. Jordan will be arraigned today. Mizell was murdered in Hollis, Queens, October 30th, 2002, shot at point blank range in the head with a .40 caliber handgun. He was 37. Jeez. And this is 18 years old.
So he was just executed.
Yeah.
I kind of remember the story. It's funny, the 2 guys that are being accused of it have the world's whitest first names and the world's blackest last names. So my ethnic wheel is spinning in my head now.
We need to recalibrate you.
Yes.
Carl and Ronald.
Carl and Ronald, but then the last names are good, right?
Jordan and Washington.
Couple of Beach Boys.
Yeah. Well, until you get to the last name. So I don't remember. Was this a big story when it happened? I guess it kind of was. And
the fact that it was a murder,
was a pioneer of a certain type of, popular music.
It was a deal that he was involved with the drug trafficking?
This is literally all I can find right now. This is just hot off the presses. I'm sure we're going to find out way more, but it says while engaged in cocaine trafficking.
I wonder why
So
it took so
he might
long.
have been caught up in some stuff.
Somebody must have said something. I mean, why was there nothing for so long?
Or, I mean, I am talking on my ass. This might be a Mark Garagos question, but if Washington's currently already in prison, maybe confessing gave him a shorter sentence. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's always. I like I said, I grew up watching cop shows, and they just wrap the whole thing up in a 60-minute episode.
Not an 18-year episode.
Well, when you watch real crime shows, it's always the same story. It's like, we had nothing, the case went cold, and there was nothing. And then 4 years later, my phone rang, and there was somebody who said they knew everything. So I talked to them, and now we've solved the case. But it's like, it's never you. In every show I ever saw, it was all the footwork and the gumshoeing and all the diligence. Like, I'm not going to rest until I take this case down. Oh, they rest all the time. The one thing I've realized is the detectives rest and the cops on the street have plenty of time for backup. Those are the two things. I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was never going to rest. They also would argue with their commanding officer when they wanted to take the case away. I'm giving this case to Kowalski. God damn it. You
Over
know
my dead body.
That's my collar.
That's right. Between stakeouts and cold cases, these fucking guys ever work?
I know. All right. Let me
the New York Times says prosecutors claim that the two had executed Mr. Mizell after he sought to exclude them from a multi-kilogram, multi-state narcotics transaction in July of 2002, just months before the murder. The court papers say that Mr. Mizell had received about 10 kilos of cocaine on consignment from a supplier in Maryland.
Can't you make enough money just being in Run DMC?
Yeah, that's mailbox money.
There's a lot of these stories in sports, like, the guy was a starting cornerback for the Rams, but he was caught with 70 pounds of weed in the trunk. It's like, you have a good job. There's good jobs. Was it Nate Newton? There was a Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman, I think
it was,
who did the same thing. It's like, you guys are all-stars. You're making good money. That should be enough. You're in Run DMC. What do we have this side business here? All right.
Yeah, so those two guys are supposed to be his partners, and supposedly he cut them out after an argument.
That's not nice.
That's not nice. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.